Welcome back to the Shred the Spread podcast. This is our Week 5 Best Bets episode. For those of you guys who tuned in for our Thursday night special, obviously you know Dynell was not there, but nothing changed. We still hit the picks. We hit the Bucks as the first leg of the teaser. Mike Evans anytime touchdown plus receiving yards. Bucky Irving over receiving and rushing. We played Drake London on the receptions. If you guys tailed the under in receiving yards, I apologize. Dynell's bread and butter. 2 field goals by both kickers cashed. He had a clean sweep. Myself, on the other hand, I had a pretty much a clean sweep besides the Drake London under receiving. But we have 5 picks against the spread to get to. But before we get into those picks, let me bring on my co-host, my right-hand man, my dude, the hottest man in sports gambling.
Okay.
Now, welcome back, hot hand.
What's going on, my guy? Well, it's good to be back. The move was stressful as hell. I'm finally glad we're in the new crib. As you can see, completely different background. I know it's just a white wall, but you guys were used to seeing fucking TVs and shit in the background and stuff. So, I'm definitely about to get this shit right in the back of me. I'm glad to be back talking. I really wanted to talk to you guys Thursday because I just knew those bets were going to hit. They smacked. Like I said, man, we're hot right now, bro. Coming off of a 4-1 week. Coming off of, a great Thursday night football after we had a good Thursday night football the previous week. So, Hey, we're rolling, man. We told y'all.
We told y'all. You swept the last 2 weeks. I was 1 pick off for the last 2 weeks. So, we're as close and as hot as it gets. So, I know, let's not dilly-dally anymore. Let's get right into the picks.
Let's go.
Leading us off, we've got the Bengals. The podcast team of the year. We've got the Bengals. We have the Bengals at home against the scorching hot Ravens. Bengals plus 2.5 is what we got in the contest. Listen, I know this is a scary spot. The one thing I will say, the Bengals have been putting up points. It's that defense that we need to figure out, okay? Historically, over Joe Burrow's career, he has been one of the winning and losing wise, Joe Burrow has been the unluckiest quarterback in the first 3 games of the season every single year of his entire career. I don't know if it's the play calling, I don't know if it's the coaching, the defense, the offense, whatever it may be. Joe Burrow just does not seem to get it together the first 3 weeks. However, week 4 through the end of the season, he is one of the most highest in completion percentage, passing yards per game, winning percentage, and he's in an extremely tough division, so that just shows pedigree to his quarterback play. Joe Burrow and the Bengals need this game for not only the division, but to turn around their season. And the one thing we took away from last week watching the Ravens versus the Bills is the Bills shot themselves in the foot a lot. Penalties, turnovers, and not only Derrick Henry just finding ways to just open up the gap, the Bills just seemed lost. But now we have a Bengals team that got their win out of the way last week. They put up points. And now we have Jamar Chase seems to be making big plays again. Okay? This whole locker room has kind of switched over the last week. And they went out there and the defense got to stop to put the game away versus Andy Dalton. I like the Bengals in this spot. I think this is where the season turns around. I would love if it's 3. I think if you guys are playing a standard book, you can wait to get to 3. I think the public is going to come on the Ravens pretty heavy Friday night, Saturday. You might be able to get a 3. So if you like this pick with us, I'd wait. However, give me the Bengals plus 2.5, Dynell. What am I missing?
Really, you're not really kind of missing much right now. I know this, like I said, this is an ugly pick. This is what we're known for. This is what we do. Okay, it's a very ugly pick. I think the biggest thing what people don't really talk about is how big of a lead the Baltimore Ravens got in those last two games against the Cowboys and the Bills, and they were able to control their tempo. That's how they get to the point where they start running away from the games, blowing teams out, start to really get into a rhythm. But even in that same game, when they took the gas off the pedal, you saw the Cowboys start to come back and start to rally. They damn near had a chance to win that game, to be honest with you, even though they literally got manhandled the whole entire game. So you're banking on Joe Burrow's ability to go ahead and put up points and throw the ball around. Okay, you already got the talent with Jamar Chase outside and the talent with T. Higgins on the outside. Zach Moss has proven that he can get into the end zone. And you're starting to see this offense starting to gain fluidity. Yes, it's the defense. I get it. They're bad. But let's be real. As long as the Bengals stay within the game, that Derrick Henry effect that you guys saw the last 2 weeks will start to dumb you down a little bit. As you saw the first 2 weeks when the games was close, it got to the point as if Derrick Henry wasn't even part of the offense. So I understand that people are kind of a little bit worried on the defensive side, but as long as Joe Burrow can stay ahead and stay in the lead, let this be a 2-possession game. You're talking about a completely different game when it comes to the Ravens. Now, I will say this. The Ravens have been hot. They've been on fire. Derrick Henry looks good, looks great. But let's be honest. Let's dial it back a little bit. That workhorse has to dial it back a little bit. That man already has a lot of miles as it is. The coaching has to manage that workload. And he had a tremendous workload the last 2 weeks. So expect a little dial back workload. I feel like expect the Bengals to keep the game close. And definitely, honestly, they may win this outright. And they have to. This is for the division.
Yeah, I love the Bengals in the spot. I think they get it done. Also, if you agree with us on the Bengals this week, do yourself a favor. Play a little bit on Joe Burrow MVP. I think he's sitting at like 22-1 in some places. If he wins this game, it's because he had a great performance, and he's just going to be on the uprise. So you can get some value right now. If you like the Bengals this week, also do yourself a favor. Bet Joe Burrow MVP. Let's move on to the second pick of the week. We have the Houston Texans at home versus the Buffalo Bills, and we are backing Houston. It's simple to me. We are taking away Josh Allen's most explosive receiver in Khalil Shakir. We are taking away their run stuffer and Ed Oliver. And we have the Texans at home. Stephon Diggs, revenge spot. I can go on and on about this. Dynell already knows when it's the Texans at home, we got to back them. But I'll let you ramble this time. Why do we like the Texans?
Oh, bro, come on, let's be honest. Well, I'm gonna just go with my little personal side note. Y'all know I love storylines. Storylines makes the intensity of the game. It gives the game off to a great tone. Stephon Diggs going back to Buffalo. Going back and playing the Bills now after being traded. This is going to be a high, intense game. I can honestly imagine what kind of game he's going to have. Honestly, I'll probably play him getting 2 touchdowns just because, just because of feed him. Why not? Feed him. Go ahead and attack that secondary a little bit. And let's put it like this. Like you said, there's 2 big injuries you're talking about there. Like I said, you're missing Ed Oliver, definitely on that front line. And to be honest with you, Joe Mixon's back this week, is he not? I'm telling you.
I think last time I just looked at the news, he was 50-50. But
he's 50-50?
He may not play, but Cam Akers isn't a slouch.
No slouch at all. And like I said, they're going to be able to run the ball. And like I said, I feel like this offense is going to finally get back going. I feel like there's a sense of urgency in Houston, also concerning the fact that they dropped the one game, and they got into a hell game with, who did they play last week? It was a very close game. They played Jacksonville last week, and they were almost about to be down 10 in the fourth quarter if the fucking Jags got 1 yard, which they can't seem to do for that one game. But it's time that I feel like this is going to be more of a step-up game. This is the Texans' little stamp mark here. This is one of those games where you're going against the Buffalo Bills, who are one of the hottest teams in the league. They're without their best receiver. They got a rookie receiver on the outside. We like Keon Coleman, but he's a rookie receiver. Stingley is not a slouch out there. And you're taking away more weapons from Josh Allen. And I feel like C.J. Stroud's going to make a stamp and let people know, hey, I'm in that top 3 category with his AFC quarterbacks too. Don't forget about me.
Yeah, the one thing that we saw with the Bills struggling last week was their defense isn't fit to stop multiple weapons. They like to scheme and focus on large targets, large target share, and that's why when Khalil Shakir went out for that I think they had 2 3-and-outs when he was out of the game. Mm-hmm. Well, now the Bills had to worry about Derrick Henry. They had to worry about Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Justice Hill out of the backfield was eating them up on third and longs out of the
eating.
backfield, and there was just too many weapons for the Bills to worry about. Well, now we're running into a situation where Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs have been the hottest duo probably to start the year, and you saw the way that the Texans were using Stephon Diggs. Nico Collins still got in the end zone, but Stephon Diggs was doing decoy stuff. He was getting handoffs in the red zone, a lot of motion, a lot of stuff that the Bills seem to struggle with. You've got to remember, Matt Milano he's not there. And now you're missing Ed Oliver, who's the other staple of that defense. There is a lot of leadership that's being lost, and you're going on the road after a tough loss. I mean, as long as the Texans can control the game and don't turn the ball over, this should be a pretty solid win for this Texans team. And again, this is another game that they need. They've kind of started off a little slow. I look forward to their offense showing out this week. I think they have the capability to do it. Dynell, give them the third pick.
Third pick, after I just bagged them a little bit in the last segment, we're going to throw the Jags in here at home. And let's go back here. Like I said, I did talk shit about them not getting 1 yard, but at the end of the day, they played a great game. They played a very great game last week. It surprised a lot of people. I feel like they had a little spunk. Doug Peterson right now is coaching for his job. Right now, and Trevor Lawrence got shit to prove. He got a lot to prove. Like I said before the year even started, I thought he was the third best quarterback in his division. If Anthony Richardson can stay healthy, that would have been the case. But we're talking about right now. As a matter of fact, we can lead into that. Right with the Colts here. Joe Flacco is the backup quarterback, and he has been phenomenal in his backup role the last 2 years. But at the end of the day, you're now in your second game. You're going on the road, and you're without Jonathan Taylor, and that is a huge, huge, huge deal. And as far as I'm concerned, like I said, Jacksonville stepped it up last week. The offense had some life, and it's time for I think it's really time for ETN to eat. Just feed ETN at this point. Get the ball out quick. Get the ball out of Trevor Lawrence's hands. He's starting to turn to that little Carson Wentz effect, trying to do a little too much. Throw the ball down here, fling it there, interception there. It's becoming too much. It's time to start getting more predicated into that run game. I want to see ETN have over 100 rushing and receiving yards. He has to step up, and he has to have a big game here. And I feel like this is a good spot for them, especially must-win game. You're 0-4, and it's a division game. All right, this is a division game. A lot of pride goes in play here. So yeah, we're definitely going to side with the Jags minus 2.5 here.
Yeah, the one thing that Dynell said is Doug Peterson is coaching for the job, but the Jags are also playing for their season.
Yeah.
I don't think a team in the NFL history started off 0-5 and made the playoffs. I just don't think it's almost statistically impossible. The Jags have to win this game. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that we can take away, yes, have they been porous in the fourth quarter? Absolutely. But the one thing that the Jags have shown us is they can get leads. It's about managing the game. I think in all 4 of their games, they've had a lead of 3 points or more.
That's a good point.
And they were whooping the Dolphins' ass. They got screwed over. They were whooping realistically and statistically, they were whooping the Texans' ass, but fell apart in the fourth quarter. So this is going to be a coaching fixture here. Doug Peterson, look at me. If we have a lead, that does not mean play conservative. You saw, this is pretty much the same realm that the Ravens do. When they get a big lead, they take their foot off the gas. That cannot happen. There's too much talent on this field. You have to play to win, not to not lose. And that's what the Jags are doing when they have the lead. They're playing to not lose instead of winning the game. I think they've learned their lesson. They're going against a Colts team that has been really wishy-washy here. I think if there is a get-right spot in the division, the home team under 3 points seem to cover. And that's what that has the last three years. We'll play that trend. Give us the Jags at home. Number 4. This one may surprise you guys, but it shouldn't. If you know us, it shouldn't. Give us the Steelers at home minus 2.5 against the Cowboys. If there's one thing that the Cowboys struggle against, it's teams that play slow and manage the clock. Because the Cowboys are like that basketball team that wants to get out on the break and increase the intensity of the game, put more points up. The Steelers are the complete opposite. It's hold possession of the ball, run down your throat, get first downs, take your points. The Cowboys are the complete opposite. They want to get out. They want explosive plays. And when you go down to a team, let's say the Steelers score on the opening possession and are up 7-0, That defense already is not going to let you run the ball, and they're not. The Steelers are number one in explosive plays. They do not let up plays of 40 or more yards. I think they've had one all season. Okay, the Steelers are the anti to the Cowboys. As long as they have a lead, they are going to make the Cowboys desperate. When Dak gets desperate, he turns the ball over. This running game has already looked very porous. Ezekiel Elliott does not seem to be explosive. Their best running back right now seems to be Rico Dowdle, and he's catching a lot of balls out of the backfield. TJ Watt is going to close that pocket, and the Cowboys' offensive line is not only battling like injuries. We saw Zach Martin come in and out of the last two games. That offensive line is not holding up as too much as they should be. Micah Parsons got banged up last game. Who knows if he's 100%. There's just too many question marks on this Cowboys team, and they haven't proved us anything over the last several weeks. So, what about you, Dynell?
Well, let me say two things, because I think a lot of people might have a little mixed up because we picked the Colts last week over the Steelers. But I'm gonna tell you why. They had a running game. That's one thing. That's one thing the Cowboys don't have. That's one thing the Cowboys don't have. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't even think the Cowboys even touched over 100 rushing yards total as a team yet. And that is very concerning going against a team where if you become one-dimensional against with those pass rushers at home with Mike I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm done talking. I don't need to say nothing else. I don't need to say nothing more. I mean, that's self-explanatory as it is. I feel like this is really a slam dunk here. Knock on wood. But at the end of the day, they should be able to go in here and handle business. They don't have to. The Steelers defense don't have to worry about a mobile running back, even though he got hurt in the middle of the game, and then all of a sudden a change of pace pocket passer. No, they have to deal with Dak Prescott. We know what this offense is going to be. We know they're going to try to throw it to CD Lamb. What else can they do?
Yeah, Brandon Cooks is out too, and that's
yes. Oh, I didn't.
That's a big loss. So not only are you taking away a weapon for the Cowboys, but you're also taking one of the weapons away from what they want to do. I don't know, man. This just reeks of a Steelers. I mean, this could be ugly. This could be ugly and low scoring, but I think the Steelers managed this game. Mike Tomlin is too experienced. Mike Tomlin coaches circles around Mike McCarthy, and that's what it's going to come down to.
All day.
Dynell, your honors for the last pick of the week.
We are the Saints. We're marching in. Yes, sir. We taking the Saints here. Going up against. Oh, my bad. I had a little cramp. I was in here trying to celebrate and forgot my cramp against the Kansas City Chiefs. I apologize for that. Guys, we've been screaming this, knocking on this all day long. We don't take Patrick Mahomes on big spreads, bro. The spread for the contest is at 5.5. Like you said, I think Jared told me earlier before the podcast started, it was at 8.5 at one point, which is ridiculous. And as you can see, a lot of people pick the Saints, and the market's down to 5.5 now as it is. So to me, this is a no-brainer. They're without Rashee Rice on top of that, which is already bad enough that you don't have Isaiah Pacheco there. And Travis Kelce, I don't know if he got Swift syndrome or he's in another world or not, but he has not shown up as of to his standard yet. And when you got to rely on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's Edwards-Helaire, they just signed Kareem Hunt last week, and who's the other receiver? Juju Smith. Did they re-sign Juju Smith? Or
yeah, Juju's back.
They re-signed the receiver they released before the season started. So it's kind of looking ugly. We get it. Patrick Mahomes, we understand he works magic. He may find a way to win the game. That's what Tom Brady did. We've seen it. But covering a 5.5 spread against a Saints team who honestly had a tough loss last week against the Falcons, who won yesterday, and they're going to be looking out for blood. Alvin Kamara, his versatility is really going to help this team propel themselves against this Chiefs defense. And let's be honest, that she's been bailed out these last couple of weeks. And I'm going to tell you this. If Patrick Mahomes gets to the point where he can't keep the offense out on the field because of the lack of weapons around him, it's going to become the Saints controlling the game, controlling the pace of the game. And once that defense gets tired, you already know what happens. It starts to crumble.
Yeah, there's two teams kind of with opposite results over the last 2 weeks. The Saints have had two rough losses back to back. The Chiefs were gifted 2 wins back to back. What I will say is the Saints are in a position to wreak havoc. The Chiefs not only are banged up on offense, their defense struggles against receiving backs. They struggle against quick passes, and we still have Rashid Shaheed to go over the top. And as long as you have that deep threat, that will keep the Chiefs honest. They're not going to be able to blitz as often as they want to do. Alvin Kamara is the ante to that. The offensive line, although we're missing Eric McCoy, which is making me a little nervous, Chris Jones is really the only person on defense right now that I'm really worried about. Tranquil has been struggling this week or this year. I just really feel like as long as the Saints can contain Xavier Worry from explosive plays, they will be able to keep this game within an arm's reach. And what happens with that, backdoor ability, and the Chiefs just for some reason, aren't putting teams away. I mean, they haven't for the last 2 years. But spread-wise and sports betting-wise, the Chiefs don't put you away. There's always backdoor capability. The Chargers blew one last week. They should have stole that game. So the Chiefs were handed 2 wins. I think when you're just walking the edge, it catches up to you eventually. The Chiefs this may be a scheduled loss for them compared to the last few weeks. I could see the Saints catching up to them. They're a team that seems desperate, especially when the Falcons just stole a game on Thursday night. The Saints have to get back into the win column. So they're going to come out guns blazing, and I'm looking for a Derek Carr bounce-back spot because over the last 2 weeks he's been subpar. I think this is a decent spot for the Saints to get right.
I mean, he is a pumpkin.
Obviously, no Survivor. That's kicked to the door. The hell with it. But that wraps it up for us. That is the Bengals plus 2.5 versus the Ravens. Texans, money line. We got them minus a half, so it's money line for us versus the Bills. Jags minus 2.5 against the Colts. Steelers minus 2.5 versus the Cowboys. And last but not least, the Saints plus 5.5 against the Chiefs.
Let's go.
Dynell, last words for the viewers.
The same last words for the last 3 years, knuckleheads. Make sure you guys follow us on X at @ShredTheSpread_. Follow me also at Dyneezy at DYNEEZY, and my guy over there, as you see his little handle on the bottom, Saucy2K. And like I said, man, let's keep it rolling. Like I said, bro, we've been hot. We're looking to keep this train going, man. And like I said, follow me on Twitter, bro. Like I said, I'm gonna be dropping pics, some pregame, some pregame. But yeah, bro, and also results. You know, I posted results. I just posted the one about the Thursday night episode, man. It pays to listen, and I want everybody to be able to get some of this bread that we win over here.
He said it best. Follow us on all social media, including TikTok. That's a good one at Shred the Spread. Roll Tide this weekend, and also playoff of baseball.
Yes,
man,
sir.
Ready for some Phillies, man. Dynell, unfortunately, he likes the O's.
Yeah.
Disappointing end to your season.
Baby birds, man.
But let's get behind the Phils. All right. So go Bama, go Philly. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Stay up to date with the podcast. And until our Thursday night football special next week, we'll see you.
Peace.